Hello, everyone. We are live. We are live. I want to say hello. If you guys also put in the chat where you guys are watching from, as we are live. Hello, 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 everyone. You guys know it's Bernice, and I am here with a guest. Today, Mr. Aaron Standberry. So, listen, you're going to learn a little bit about him as our 2025 Christian Business Owners, let me say virtual Christian Business Owners Summit speaker. He's one of them that's going to cover the XR lane, and he's going to talk a little bit about that XR for business and business education. You know, how we as business owners, we should not only just um be growing in one area, like, you know, our prayer life and our spirituality and our growth with God, but also as business owners, there should be some way where we are incorporating some technology and things that have already been growing in the industry for our industry, right? This is where we merge this together as Christian business owners. We pray, network, and educate. So I brought in Mr. Aaron to cover that piece about XR and how we can expand in our business through this advanced technology. He's one of our speakers, like I said, for the Christian Business Owner Summit. And by the way, guys, it is free. I want to make sure that you guys know that, and it's your time to register. I have the link right on, or the website right here, cboevent.com, at the bottom of this screen, that you can take a part of that and make sure you register, and do not wait till it is late. Make sure you go ahead and register now. Listen, we got some people here. Support from Goldberg, Mississippi. Don Stanberry says hi, hello, and Cynthia from Kansas, King's Table. Yes, God bless you. God bless you both. Thank you so much. Listen, Mr. Stanberry, who are you? I know these people are like, well, who is Mr. Stanberry? Who is Aaron?
Well,
Let me put you on the screen here.
when I find that out, I'll be more than happy to tell anybody who I am. Right now, I don't know who I am. I'm just a traveler right now, trying to doing the Lord's work and going where He sent me and doing the things that He allows me to do. And that's just it. But
Yes,
if you need a little background, I'm a retired Air Force E7.
yes,
I retired in 1992 from the Air Force here in Gulfport, Mississippi, the Air Force Base, Keesler Air Force Base. I started out as a dog trainer, supervisor, superintendent, and then moved over to training weapons and little small arm thing like that to keep people safe from safe in hostile areas. As I said, I retired in 1992, but the journey, I guess, the journey or the assignment that God gave me goes all the way back to the mid '80s when my wife, she started a little radio program for the church in Texas when we was
wow.
there, Maranatha Baptist Church, and I tagged along with her. But then I began to start doing media after I bought a camera and stuff. So we wound up together being the media crew for the church. So
Okay.
it moved on and on and on. But in the early '90s, in 1990, we moved here to Mississippi because of assignments. I got reassigned here to Keesler Air Force Base, and we did some things, but we wasn't active in that atmosphere, in that line. But we was doing some stuff in the church, and right around 91, 92. Oh, well, excuse me, right around right around 90, 91. I got a little gig at a radio station, a local gospel radio station here on Mississippi Gulf
Yes.
Coast called WQFX. And I did a little weekend thing there for about 3 hours every Saturday and stuff. Gave me a lot of inspiration and stuff. And from that radio station, we used to do little concerts where we would have some local people coming. Back in those days, it was the Canton Spirituals, the Jackson Southern Airs, and I don't know if you're familiar with those people, Pilgrim
Am
Jubilee.
I?
They used
Yes.
to come through.
And Lee
Now,
Williams.
yeah, Lee Williams. Yep, yep, yep. They used to come through for a sandwich back in them days. You could get them to
Wow.
come in and stop in and sing at your little church for a good meal. But then
Yeah.
so we was involved. Me being involved in that kind of met some people that was interested in it. So we started a group called, and we call it the Koinonia, which was a
Mm.
gathering. So our objective was to do little meetings and things, little musicals and things like that to keep the music flowing and everything. And it worked out pretty good for a while. But then, you know, there's a shift came in the late '90s
Yes.
where they moved from choir music and the other type of music that they was doing, the quartet type of music. There was a shift from that, going more to that contemporary and urban gospel. So at that time, it became kind of hard for to get people to support that endeavor. So, but we but we continued on, and I started the a nonprofit at that time called Jehovah Ministries, and the
Mm.
nonprofit was to go out and do some. But then after we began to people start, the old people got older, they started
Yeah.
not, want to participate, and that was a period of time when uh, we were missionary Baptists, and most missionary Baptist churches were pastor oriented. So if you didn't get the pastor behind you, then it was
Yeah.
hard to get the people behind you. So,
Yeah.
so,
So
so,
let me say this, because we only got a few minutes though right here, but I do
right.
want to say two things. First of all, number one, you can't say you just a nobody. It sounds like God been using you to do some amazing things, not only in the military, but you said, how you and your wife serve in ministry. Sounds like you're curving with as a pioneer. And even now, as I have met you in the virtual reality space, I can see you as a pioneer in this space. So, can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the XR, virtual reality? Because you do let me say this, y'all. Okay. And I'm not going to be modest with this, right? If you are especially engaged, anyone can pretty much tell you they know Mr. Aaron Standberry. Like, he is amazing in the space of virtual reality and paving in the way for those, especially Christian like us Christians who want to get in the space. And so you have, let me say thank you. You've done some amazing work and things. Like, you could talk to him in virtual reality and some things will just come up out the sky. He'll have a car just zoom it in and come out. I mean, it's just so many things that are animated, things that we need when it comes to innovation and moving forward with business. So can you talk to us how you got into that and a little bit
Well,
about what is XR? Because
I got into
people
that.
may not know what that is.
I got into that world because of primarily our youth. What I found in my
Mm,
research and stuff, that our alphas and Gen Zs are digital kids, and we begin to try and we continuously try to educate digital kids with 2D animation. So they're 3D. So once again, I was happy as a lark, retired, sitting on the front porch watching the grass grow. And the Lord said, okay, it's time to get back in the rural and do your thing. So I said, hey, Lord, it's your vision. So if it's your vision, you give me a provision. So what he did was do some other things that was going on. I had some extra resources. So I got in contact with Victor XR, and they put me in contact with Mr. Sean Lewis in Detroit. And based on that, I picked up some oculars and some information. And I'm kind of like a self-taught person, so I just dove into it and
yeah.
started doing things. So that was about a year ago, and from there, everybody has a niche. Most of the people I was contacting inside the metaverse primarily was just building things, building
Yes.
stuff like that, and having stuff like that. So I jumped into to content creating or content editing because I'm basically a video editor by trade. But I
Wow.
jumped into
I didn't
that.
know that.
Yeah, I jumped into that. That's 2D. So when I got into the 3D world, Engage had content. I had a content editor, so it was like I just jumped in it, and then a lot of the information, a lot of knowledge that I had from being an editor, like how to do keyframes and things like that,
Yeah.
it kind of caught on to me. So then I just started just doing stuff and seeing and making a car drive. And so then one thing led to another. Then I would be talking to people in the space, and they would say, "Man, I sure like to do this or do that. Or can we do this? Can we?" And so when you tell me you want to do something, my thing is, "Hey, let me give me a minute here." So I started
Yes.
putting started animating stuff like a lot of 3D objects and stuff like cars and helicopters and things like that too. And so they have the space, the city park, and we have cars and helicopters flying around, going outside of the area, going going outside of the actual normal areas. And so that got me. And like I said, that got me involved. My interest
Yeah.
peaked because I'm concerned about the kid, our young alphas and Gen Zs and those coming up after them. Because right now everybody's talking about, all they want to do is play them games and stuff and virtual reality, blah blah blah, and we forget a lot of times that things shift, and when it shifts to a new
Yes.
level. And once it
Hmm.
and that new level, now I look at the metaverse, and I kind of like Star Trek looked at outer space. It's a bold
Yes.
new place where no man has gone before, or no person has gone before, and it's a new frontier. But
I
a lot
agree.
of our particular, I'm a late boomer, so you can figure there's a lot of generations between me and Apple. So
Yes.
I come across a lot of exes and stuff, and they're involved in their world and so forth and so on. But then recently they said, "Well, we just don't understand these kids." Well, you don't understand the kids because we trying to pull them into our world instead of getting
Right.
into their world and seeing
Yeah.
how we can impact them in their world. So I started talking with some people about gamification, and gamification is the utilization of virtual reality, not only
Mm.
immersed but also uh, augmented and mixed reality, and doing so bringing in with virtual games and stuff like that, that kind of subliminal teach stuff that the kids can pick up and have fun at the same time. Because what we're finding is that our kids now are engaged. They have to be engaged because their attention span is so short, and they have to get engaged. Like um, I know some kids, like even my
Yes.
grandson, he could spend hours and hours and hours playing Xbox and PS5 and all these things. So my thing was to try to trying to pull them into the virtual world, while
Yes.
at the same time connecting our institutions, our K-12 and higher learning, to get into their space. That's why right now we're working on a
Yes.
project with the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College here on the coast where I used to work at, getting involved in their liaison program to see if we can work something out where they teach 3D modeling, how to use
Yes.
Blender and Unity and all these different things, and also they teach coding with the various languages and things,
Yes.
and take that to the Boys and Girls Club, who is our premier after school program. So, and they're looking for people to teach them. So it's the best of both worlds in the fact that we can get interns to come in to the
Yes.
Boys and Girls Club and fill those spaces. At the same time, those individuals are getting that hands on in the real world. And
Yes.
here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, it's all a lot of this is from this area, particularly from a community area, is new stuff. So if we can keep our technological people here on the coast, it'll be a good thing. But we have to find avenues that we can get them engaged in once they graduate from the community colleges, or for either uh, from the major colleges, because Hattiesburg is right the world with USM and so forth and everything like that. And as I mentioned to you earlier, our Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College is the premier AI organization here. They're responsible for the whole state AI program through a program called Mississippi Artificial Intelligence Network, and their director is constantly at the governor's office and the state
Yes.
representatives pushing that up. So, but the situation that I've found is that that's all well and good, K-12 to higher learning, but we
Mhm.
missing those kids in the community,
Yes.
the
Yes.
Boys and Girls Clubs, the other organizations that caters to after school program or mentoring program with
Yes.
that technology. That way, my concept is if we can catch them there, when they get to high school, 11th, 12th grade, they already have an understanding of STEMs as far
Yes.
as science, technology, engineering, and math. So,
Hmm.
and with the community college having that developed program, it would be nothing for them to go to walk right into that, because
Yes.
right now a lot of the people, I think a lot of the people that's coming into those programs at the higher learning is coming in at a very basic level because they haven't been introduced to it when they were at a younger age or in a young environment. So that I've done some research with the Boys and Girls Club here. I have two of them that I've worked with, Forest Heights and Bay St. Louis, and I come to
Mhm.
find out that there was a organization that sponsored them a VR lab, and
Yes.
they had six VR labs plus 3D printers, the whole nine yards. But they had nobody to teach anything, so they wind up a lot of times just playing games
Yeah.
and stuff. So that perked my interest up in that
Yeah.
environment. So
Can
right
I
now,
can I cut in just a little bit?
yes, ma'am.
Because we are at the end of time, but I
Okay,
do
I
want
get to talk.
to.
I can't stop.
Yeah, yeah. But I want one question though, as it relates to the summit, because you are a speaker that you'll be covering more about XR for businesses and education. What the question is, what can Christian businesses who, register, what can they expect from your part, your session?
Well, what they expect from my part is the fact of how they can connect, how the metaverse is actually connected to the real world also, because there are different things. Right now, I've just did some stuff where I can actually bring in a website. If they say they have a an e-commerce website, and they want to expand it to the internet, I have a coding that we can put into that space. So when a button is clicked, their website can come up, and that person can actually purchase stuff from their website within the metaverse. Plus, they can have
Yes.
events and things like that in there. So that's the kind of research that I'm doing on how we can connect all these things. Same thing with the educational aspect. I have another area that has like a solar system in it, and it has information about the different planets. But then at a point in time, I can push a button and a test or a quiz will pop up in front of the individuals. And the thing about it, they can't get around it. They got to take the test in order to move forward.
Yes.
And it lets them know what they've learned. Plus, it also gives me a capability to have those statistics on everybody to see to kind of, and if it's a classroom, to be able to tailor each lesson to each individual student. So that's the kind of stuff that XR bring to the
Yeah.
table, as far as education and business. So it's nothing to be. We have a tendency to be afraid of things,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the things that we're afraid of a lot of times, is because it's new technology, and people keep talking about what's happening in the future. Well, the future is now, and I'm constantly telling people, if you ain't on board now, you're going to be running behind the train after it's left the station. So a lot of our and then and that's from a business standpoint. But the most devastating thing is from a Christian standpoint, because we
Yes.
got these people, oh, it's still the devil, and this is and it's the Antichrist. So that
Yes.
that my concept is God created everything. There's nothing that has not been created that's not God does not have his hand on. The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell in him. So therefore, our objective, Jesus told the parable of the 10 mice. When the young man left, he told them to occupy. Well, what does that mean? He told them to do business until he came back. And once he came back, he came. They did business. Now, what was that business? They dealt with the people around them in a righteous kind of way. And if you know anything about that story, the one that didn't do anything, but took it and put it in a hole, he was the one that was condemned for not doing business. So we as Christians are told to occupy, and that occupation uh, is of the various pillars of society: education, economics, religion, um, and various other we're and governance. We're told that we are the influencers of those pillars of society, but we have in some way have some way have let that ball slide.
Yeah, I agree, and I appreciate you so much for sharing that today, because, like you said, there are some people who, especially our community of Christians, where we tend to think that this is, yeah, there you go, Dr. Lever. Yeah, we tend to, and let me say hey to the people in the YouTube too, Don and Kings and Twyla. Thank you so much for coming in. But yes, I agree. We do tend to think every technology is the devil. And if we do the research, even way back in the day, they thought telephones was the devil. They thought everything that was some advancement of technology, it was the enemy. And no, the word of God says all that was made was good. And we are to take this and say, okay, how can we glorify God in this? How can we expand what God has given us? And like you said, how can we occupy till he come, right? So yes, thank you so much. We do have, yes, thank you, yes. And we are live on TikTok as well, and as a few others, Twitch. We have a few other streams that we're on. So I want to say hello to everybody in the virtual land where we are streaming in from. I do have to go shortly, but I do want to say thank you again, Mr. Aaron, for sharing
Thank
your
you.
expertise. And
Opportunity. Thank you.
yeah, and I look forward to your session. In fact, we got two speakers, two CBO speakers here. Tyler is one of them, and Dr. Leroy is one of them too. So thank you guys for supporting another speaker.
Well,
Uh,
we're looking to connect with anybody that's out there that's want to get
yeah.
involved in this space. So you have my information. If you can send it forward, then we'll see what we can do from there.
All right, y'all. All right. See y'all later. Blessings, everybody.